how the silence of Aaron teaches us how to behave in moments of pain. Shabbat Shalom, Parashat Shemini. Shabbat Shalom, Parashat Shemini. In this week's parasha, we are confronted by one of the hardest moments of the Torah. The moment when Aaron loses his two sons while waiting for the highest moment of the sacrifice in the tabernacle after 7 days of preparation. This event happens or reoccurs. We read about it 4 times in the Torah. Maybe it's just a preparation for the fact that you see here a sad story of somebody who loses such a painful moment, and how does he react? Maybe it tries to teach us something. Now, this week in Israel, we are passing through probably the hardest week of the year, between Yom HaShoah, the Remembrance Day of the Holocaust, and Yom HaZikaron, the Memorial Day for the soldiers and for the terror victims. Specifically now, during the year and a half of the war, these two moments are just clashing in front of us. The painful moments of the Holocaust more than 80 years ago, and the horrible moments of the mini Holocaust that people went through on the 7th of October. Is it the same? Is it connected? I don't know if we can even refer to the same terminology, but I know for a fact that for many people in Israel, the moments of the 7th of October and everything since then brought them memories and recalling situations of what happened then in the Holocaust. It's not an Holocaust episode. We're going to talk about the weekly portion, but I just want to share this insight. One of the people who went down south on the 7th of October and actually reacted mentioned the fact that all his perspective about life changed when he visited Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial Center. The guy name is Nimrod Palmach, and I recommend you hearing some podcast from him. I might interview him here soon. And I heard about him, and I just heard his story. A guy goes down with just a gun, and he explains that after visiting as a teenager on the 7th of October, not in the Holocaust Memorial Center in Yad Vashem, he understood a fundamental moment. The Holocaust, the most painful thing in the Holocaust was that we had nothing to do. Nobody acted, and we had no power to act. Therefore, in the time of war, Nimrod says, I had to act, even with just my gun. I had to go and do something and say, never again, I need to act. But in this week portion, it's almost the complete opposite. When Aaron receives the news about the loss of his two sons, he acts in a way that is quite surprising. Va'idom Aaron. Aaron is in silence. He does not speak. Sometimes silence is very loud. And I'm sure that moment, the profound moment of him gazing and understanding that he just lost two of his sons in the most highest moments, was a very strong silence. But what does this silence represent? Some of the commentaries explained that it was just an emotional moment. He was sitting there crying, inside or outside, and he just didn't speak. He was at the moment, fully in the moment, and the silence came from being in a devastated situation. The second say that in that moment he realized this is God's action. He just need to pray. It's a moment that I don't need to react to the people around me. I just need to react to what is God telling me to do. What is God trying to show me here? Why did I go through what I went through? The truth is, when people lost their loved ones, and I lost my father, and I can tell you that in the first days of mourning, the biggest thing you want to do is to be silent and quiet. What can you say? How can you even talk about it? People are connected and concerning with between them and between God. The biggest moment of silence, I think, for Aaron was realizing that in our life, most of the time, we want to react. We are used to react. This is something we learn from a very young age. When something happened to you, you need to answer, you need to come back, you need to do something in response. The whole atmosphere of life is basically showing that there's things to do and that things to say, and you need to do something, and you need to act, and you need to move. And if you're not moving, what are you here for? In a moment with such a long, big pain, like Aaron losing his sons, he had to be silent to understand that there's a bigger truth and reality in life right now. When you look at the situation around you, when you look at everything that passes through you, you realize that sometimes if I'm looking at the situation, just at the situation, it looks really terrible. But when you look at the bigger picture, when you really realize there's more to understand from it, maybe it makes more sense. I don't know what was the sense of Aaron losing his two kids, but Moshe's reaction may be telling us something. He comes and he sees his brother after the loss, and he says a sentence. In Hebrew, Bikrovai Akadesh. In my beloved one, I will be holy. I will be blessed. I will be sanctified. What does it mean? It means that our sages gave us a very interesting story about a merchant who sells vessels. And he wants to show everybody that these vessels are working well. So he takes a stick and he just kicks and gives a couple of forces on the vessels. And our sages say that he only gives vessels on the strong ones. Because if he would give it to the weak one, to the fragile one, they will break. Therefore, Moshe gives an answer or an insight to his brother. The reason why God struck you the way he struck you, the way you lost what you lost, was that you had the power to stand. You had the power not to break. There was a lesson to be learned here. There was a bigger insight. It's not only that specific loss. You got it because God knows you're able to receive this power for a moment, and a moment that is so profound. When we are facing the brutality of the Holocaust, and we are facing the brutality of the 7th of October and everything since then, many people ask questions about God and where God is and how God allows it to happen. This is the most profound question. And after the Holocaust, many people left Judaism, left the religion and the faith because of these big questions. It happens all the time. When bad things happen, you are questioning the very essence of God preserving and seeing what happens in this world. But the secret that we learn from Va'idom Aaron would be silent is this. Whenever bad things happen, whenever the reality strikes, and it strikes, silence. Preserve the moment. Deep insight into the reality of everything that happens around you, and only then you might react. The instincts to act, to move, to say, to shake, to scream. Put it aside and learn from Aaron. Quiet instincts, and think and realize and search and look for the profound moment of the reality and the understanding. For most people, it will take time to realize. But the lessons that are learned by all the actions that happen around us, and the painful moments that happens to people that can act and stand even in those moments. Since the 7th of October, we heard dozens and dozens of parents and siblings giving eulogies like you cannot imagine. Really showcasing what is it to be a real warrior and fighter and Zionist for the people of Israel. People who lost their loved ones and said, we will do it all over again, because for the greater good of the Jewish people and for the state of Israel, we gave the most precious thing that we had. We gave it because we are sacrificing, or we are sanctifying God in the land and in this world. Va'idom Aaron was quiet, only being quiet, observing and thinking of what really happens on the greater scheme of things really might bring us the comfort we need. Shabbat Shalom.